Fox News contributor Gary Kaltbaum joins us now. Gary, so the U.S. and China representatives met this morning. They broke for lunch, as we understand it. They are continuing the talks this afternoon. That in itself a sign, perhaps, of some progress?
I think we're seeing some progress, and for the record, we're going to need some progress. I don't see how businesses can continue to work with 145% tax on them here and 125% over there. So I think both countries know they got to come down from this. And that's why you're seeing some floating of 80%, which, by the way, is still high. And I must tell you, after the last 6 weeks, any movement is good movement right now. And let's hope cooler heads prevail and we get back to some normalcy.
Yeah, and talking of getting back to some normalcy, there was this deal, or at least the outlines of this deal, announced with the UK this week. Could that serve as a model for other trade deals going forward? What did you think of the agreement overall?
What I liked, it's a start, and I think other countries will see it and maybe move a little quicker. There are plenty of people that say there wasn't a lot of meat to the deal yet, and there's others that say it's fantastic. It was good to see British Airways buying Boeing jets and a few other movements. But again, and this is the most important point, after the last 6 weeks where markets crashed, not just the stock market, but the dollar and the bond market, and we're farther away from it. And the reason we are because the pause of a lot of tariffs are on a lot of countries. So again, movement is good. The farther we get away from the high numbers, the better, and we can be on our way. I think the country is poised for some pretty big things going forward. You never really bet against the American business and American people. And I'm just a big believer. Let's get this out of the way, and I think we can get going pretty darn good.
Yeah, and getting a deal done with China seems key for the average American, Gary. We can talk about the markets, whether they're up or down. The average American is wondering, am I going to see price increases when I go to Amazon or when I go to Walmart? Are those going to start affecting me? So talk to me. I am a very average American. In fact, I'm well below average when it comes to understanding economic policy. But am I going to start seeing price increases when I buy things if we don't get a deal very quickly?
Yeah, there's a reason why there's been a lot of exemptions put on, and that's because prices for electronics would have skyrocketed. But there's still plenty of things out there. I believe we get 97% of our strollers from China, and a lot of small businesses get a lot of small things from China, and that means prices are going to go up. As I stated from the outset, there is just no way that a lot of small businesses can continue if they're paying 145% above their normal pricing. There's no way they can, stay that way. And that means they have to put it on to the consumer, and that means prices go up. 1 + 1 = 2 when it comes to tariffs. And that's why these meetings are so vital at this juncture. And let's just hope, I'm really hoping this weekend, at least we have some movement to take the numbers down. If not, I think there'll be disappointment.
And Gary, President Trump, also talking of the economy, seems to have a lot of criticism for Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. Powell is holding interest rates steady, announced that this week. The president says a rate cut would be like jet fuel for the economy. So how do you see it?
Well, I'm in the president's camp that Jay Powell's been wrong on so many things, and just really on the inflation front, you couldn't have been more wrong. I'm a big believer less is more from Jay Powell and the Fed. I think there's room to cut rates here, but not that much. Jay Powell, the Fed funds is what banks charge each other and lend to each other. The number is at 4.25, and guess what the 10-year yield is, which is mortgages and a lot of loans, just above 4.25. So they're kind of sort of in line. There's room to drop, but not too much. And I don't know if it affects the playing field that much to drop a quarter point from here. But look, lower interest rates is always a boon to the economy. It spurs on economic growth. It spurs on lending and business. So, yeah, I have no problem with the president, but jawboning a little bit too much. I wonder if Jay Powell has to stay independent and not move because of that.
Gary Kaltbaum. Thank you, Gary, for making it all plain and understandable, even for a financial idiot like me. Gary Kaltbaum, thank you so much, sir. Alicia?
Thank you, John.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.